Hello my friends who are listening to Ebird Online. And guys, today I'm going to be talking to you about Bilal and Shaeeda. But we have a special guest. Her name's Eutrice. And unfortunately she has about as much up top as Bilal does. And we've all heard the old adage, you should never argue with an idiot. Both Bilal and Eutrice decided to do just that this week. And guys, you know Bilal. He always tries to give the look of a man with a plan. However, he doesn't quite know what that plan is yet. And this week's just no different. So the main protagonist this week, Utrece, manages to trap Bilal in what I can only describe as a hostage situation. And I know we all think that Bilal's a self-indulgent, insufferable asshole, and he is. But in Utrece, he's met his match. Oh dear, oh dear. Yes guys, that's right, it's 90 Day Fiance, Happily Ever After Season 7, and this is Episode 12. So very quickly before we begin, please don't forget to press that big red subscribe button. Make Ebird a very happy Ebird. Come on, join the fun. And guys, just so you know, for some bizarre reason, YouTube has been somehow deleting people from my subscribe list. So if you've subscribed before, resubscribe, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. And also, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to smash the like button. Right, so without further ado, I give you Bilal and Shaeeda. And so the first time we see Bilal and Shaeeda this week, they're packing their suitcases, ready to go to New York. And apparently, this is their first vacation. What? So, no honeymoon from Bilal then? Interesting. So what do we have? No proper wedding, no baby, and now it seems there's been no honeymoon. And it's quite amusing because later on this episode he says how much he's done for Shaeeda. But I've been watching extremely intently. In fact, some might say rather obsessively. And I haven't managed to notice all of these things that you've done for Shaeeda. Perhaps you'd like to elucidate, Bilal. I'll wait. As far as I can see, Bilal's married Shaeeda and bought her a couple of Gucci belts. And literally, that's about it. I don't know all of these things that Bilal's done. And in fact, the things I've mentioned are actually not for Shaeeda, they're for him. He married her, so she was by his side. He wanted her as much as she wanted him. The only person I know that's consented to marry somebody for their partner's pleasure is the lovely Sojaboy, who graciously accepted Kim's proposal of marriage because it would make her happy. I still can't get over that, guys. It's hilarious. And as for the Gucci belts, well, he bought those for her so they could both flex on the gram together. A little bit like this. So anyway, this couple tell us they're on their way to New York, and whilst they're busy packing, Bilal says the following.
New York is a place that I actually want to take Shy. It's a place that she's always dreamed about going, so it's a great time to bond on this trip and do some nice romantic things, which is why I also have to remind her sometimes about, if we wanted to have a child, then, we may have to put couples goals and different things like that off to the side for a little while.
Just wow. He says, she's going to have to put her couple's goals off to the side. One, I'm sure that 2 nights in New York is rather nice, but it's hardly couple's goals. You're in Times Square, not the Hamptons. And secondly, and far more importantly, the main couple's goal for Shaeeda is to have a child. What don't you get? This is her goal. Honestly, guys, if I was in a room with Bilal, I'd rap him on the forehead with my bare knuckles and scream, "Is anyone in there?" And I think I'd really enjoy it. Guys, I really would. And so they board the plane and finally they arrive in New York. And according to Shaeeda, it smells like a posy. What's a posy? Apparently, the WC. It smells a bit pissy. I think you'll find, Shaeeda, that's Bilal's attitude. But we'll keep it moving. The couple grab a taxi to the city. And Bilal lets Shaeeda know he wants to have romantic times and bedroom fun with her. And in response to that, Shaeeda says the following.
I'm hoping that when I leave this trip, inshallah, that I'm pregnant. I hope that I could have some news. The doctor told us to try, so we could at least see if something happens, Want
to have some fun? Or you want to, bring baggage with you?
And guys, did you notice how Bilal looks straight out of the window at the very mention of possibly having a baby? Bilal is just so passive, he never ever actually confronts anything. He's so evasive. And guys, when she said this, I was chuckling to myself. In fact, I wasn't chuckling, I was guffawing to myself. I think this very thought will ruin sex for Bilal. The thought of having a child at the moment of ejaculation will ruin each and every orgasm he tries to have. And guys, I'm here for it. Bilal. And then Shaeeda tells production that she's hoping her friend Utrece can finally help her to get through to Bilal. Shaeeda, let's see, shall we? And so the couple walk around Times Square. And it's quite sweet to see, really. You can tell they're both completely and utterly in love. Shaeeda with New York and Bilal with himself. Bilal stopped by a street vendor and bought Shaeeda a red rose. And it may just as well have been a red flag. And then the couple make their way to meet Utrece for dinner. And then Bilal tells production that he hopes that Shaeeda seeing her friend Utrece will help her to take her mind off the baby for an evening. And I'm here to tell Bilal, no, it won't. Not for 1 second. If anything, it will focus her mind on that very subject. And so the couple arrive at the restaurant, and Utrece turns up, and she shakes Bilal's hand in a very businesslike manner, and fixed him with quite a steely stare. Oh dear, guys, I'm not too sure I like Utrece. She looks as if she parks in disabled spaces. There's something a bit off about her. And so the trio sit down, and immediately Utrece says that she wants a one-to-one with Bilal to find out about him, to find out about he and SHAEEDA'S relationship, and to try and suss out his vibe. And then Utrece asks Bilal, how do you feel about that? And Bilal the Dumbo said, how do you feel about that? Oh, good Lord, Bilal really is a bozo. She's just said to you, I want to sit and fire questions at you, and I want to find out about you. How do you feel about that? And your response is, how do you feel about that? Guys, when I told you right from the word go that Bilal wasn't wrapped too tight, people got all in my comments and said, Bilal has a degree. Year 1 of a degree, let's not forget. Bilal's an entrepreneur and really intelligent. Bilal can barely work out how to respond to a very simplistic question. And so, of course, Utrece answers, well, I'm fine with that. Of course she's bloody fine. She's the one who wants to ask all the questions. And then Bilal started saying, and she asked, why are you hesitating? And Bilal said, well, usually the people in a relationship are the ones that speak on these things. This is all about us and it's not really any of your business. And in one sense, Bilal's completely right in telling her to piss off. It's nothing to do with her, and also, why come in so hot and heavy immediately? However, because I know and dislike Bilal, I'm duty-bound to let you know that you always involve other people in your intimate marriage business, such as your mum, your sister, your ex-wife, your work colleagues, literally anybody that you think will help further your cause and brainwash Shaeeda. So unfortunately for you, what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. But then Utrece said, oh my God, I think you're being really mean and quite rude. And then Bilal and Eutrice both stare each other out, and the atmosphere is, well, as thick as Bilal. And before we know it, Bilal's complaining and moaning to production. He said, she's coming straight out of the gate, aggressive and rude. And it seems like she doesn't like me very much. No shit, Sherlock, but here's Utrece.
We're only 10 minutes into the conversation and Bilal's making me feel uncomfortable. I don't know what I have done. But now meeting him and the way he's reacted to me, I don't know if he's trying to mask something.
What? Unfortunately, Utrece, I'm going to have to ask you to commit to being a villain. None of this crying and complaining shit when somebody else is also a villain. My theory is as thus. Whatever she's on was not FDA approved, and her tablets were confiscated at customs, and now we are literally having to deal with the effects. That's actually all I can come up with. And also, just an aside, they're trying to say that Utrece is from London. I don't know how long she's been there, but not very, because at one point Bilal said, I think you're being, what is it they say in London, nosy? And she said, oh right, you mean snotty? And he said, I didn't say it, but you did. And at this point, I can only give you a double bozo award because nosy means you're poking your nose into somebody else's business. Snotty means you're looking down on somebody and you're being rude to them. They both don't mean the same thing. Neither of these two seem to know what either of them mean. I believe Utrece is from Trinidad and she's been on a day trip to London and now suddenly that's where she's from. So anyway, the whole time these guys are arguing, Shaeeda looks as uncomfortable as all hell. She can't believe how this is panning out. So instead of saying, you guys, calm down, let's have a chat about different things and we'll get into this another time, she said, who wants to order? Who wants a cracker? And she tries to just break up the tension. It doesn't work because they're both sitting, literally glaring at each other. And although, guys, you know, I dislike Bilal, along there with Tom and Big Ed, I've got to say, Utrece, well, you're not putting your best foot forward. You came in with the weirdest attitude I've ever known. And Bilal said, I'll only say something if I intend on saying it. And guys, I can't be bothered to decipher exactly what that means. But Utrece said, well, it seems to me you're being evasive. Utrece, you've yet to ask him any specific question. If you really wanted to know something, guys, would you start out by saying to somebody, I want to know all about you, all about your relationship, what makes you tick, and I want to work out your vibe? Would you do that? Or would you just start doing it? Would you just start working out his vibe? Would you just start asking, how are you getting on with Shaeeda? My girl tells me she wants a kid. What about you? Would you not just start doing it? I don't know how else to say it, but Utrece is a sandwich short of a picnic. And then Bilal said, one of the biggest lies he's told all season. I am a very, very confident man. Bilal, you're not confident at all. Whenever confrontation comes to meet you, you are evasive. You look down. You look to other people for help. You're lots and lots of things, but confident isn't one of them. You put on what you think is a mask of confidence, and we all, the viewers, we all see right through it. But Shaeeda's no longer willing to let all of this fly, and she says, it's very, very important for my husband and my best friend to get along. Obviously, it's not that important, Shaeeda, otherwise they would have met, even if it was virtually, before you got married, but that hasn't happened, so, don't know if I believe that one. If it was so important, you wouldn't have, obviously you have, shit-mouthed Bilal to your best friend, and you would have, with your best friend, strategized to get what you wanted out of Bilal before you even sat down. None of this has happened. And then Bilal said to Utrece, your demeanour and your energy is just, well, it's just different. You're like, who's this guy? And Utrece said, you're assuming. And Bilal said, I'm not assuming. I'm taking my points from your energy this evening and what you've actually said to me. And for once, he's actually correct. He's not assuming anything. She's literally come at him from the word go like a hormonal teenager. And Shaeeda said, he's very defensive at the moment. And then Bilal said, has Shaeeda told you all the things I do for her? That should make you very happy. Oh God, Bilal, what, like the rose that you bought her for $1? What is it you've done for her? I wish you'd stop with this narrative. Please, Bilal, come with a list of everything you've done for Shaeeda. And Utrece said, should she be thankful? Someone else would do all of that for her. And then she told production, Bilal's acting like he's given Shaeeda his last remaining kidney. That was quite funny. And back at the table, Bilal looked really, really nervous, but the truth be told, guys, he shouldn't be, as this Utrece does not seem to be the brightest spark. And that's where we end things for this week. So what does the Ebird make from all of this? Well, the first thing I want to just make everybody aware of is that I've decided to give Utrece a nickname, and that nickname would be Crazy Eyes. I can't remember the last time we've had somebody as funny. In fact, she's given me, I think, as much joke as, what's his name? That's his name, John. John at the tell-all. Nobody's given me as bad an attitude as John at the last tell-all. Now, it's very clear to me that Crazy Eyes has been fed a whole narrative by Shaeeda, and she doesn't like Bilal one little bit. But here's the thing. I don't think there's ever any reason to be that rude to somebody straight off the bat. She started giving him weird looks and, well, she started off with a really weird handshake. We Europeans, we kiss on both cheeks. And then she fixed him with her demonic stare, a la Crazy Eyes. And as Bilal the bozo ransacks the outer reaches of his mind for witty responses to her barbed comments, she just fixed him with a crazier and crazier stare. She never actually asked him any definitive questions, or not as yet. And so all of this I don't like. But my real problem with Crazy Eyes was the fact that she then pulled a 1-2 switcheroo and said, I don't know what I've done to Bilal to make him so rude to me. I just really don't understand what I've done. Crazy Eyes, you know good and well what you've done. And I wouldn't mind if any of this was going to be a help to Shaeeda, but none of it is. Here's what should have happened. She should have come in and said, hi Bilal, I've heard so much about you. And then she should have butted him up with, oh, you're more dapper than I thought, and got him on side. I figure he's quite basic like that. And then she should have gone for the jugular. Shaeeda wants to get pregnant in the next 6 months. Is that one of your plans, or is it not? If it's not, I'm going to advise my friend perhaps she should move on, because both of you don't want the same things and she's on a very short time frame. Simple. So then he can't blame SHAEEDA for saying she's going to leave him, like he always tries to do, but in essence, the thought is floating around in the ether, if she doesn't get pregnant sooner rather than later, she's going to be gone. Instead, she screws the pooch, and now she's in a situation where, no matter what she says or does, Bilal's not going to consider a thing she says. I honestly believe the only reason that you could speak so rudely to someone is if you genuinely believed they've been putting their paws on your friend. I think that's the only thing that I would give this behaviour a pass to. Another thing I found quite interesting about Crazy Eyes is that SHAEEDA was way more scared of Crazy Eyes than she was of Bilal. She kept chastising Bilal even though it was Crazy Eyes that was actually being rude. And I think it's fair to suggest that if Crazy Eyes really had any respect for SHAEEDA, she would have handled the whole thing completely differently. But of course no review would be complete without a rundown of what Bozo Bilal has done. And of course he's making a big song and dance about taking SHAEEDA to New York for a couple of days. It's in the same bloody country, come on. And the one thing Crazy Eyes had right was Bilal acts as if he's given SHAEEDA his last kidney, and all he's done is married her and given her a poxy rose. But the main reason for my laughter today with Bilal was his sheer ineptitude at handling the situation that was Crazy Eyes. And the funniest of all was when she said, "How do you feel about me asking you lots of questions?" And he said, "Well, how do you feel about it? You're not asking her questions. She wants to ask you, Bilal." Oh Lord. And it's then when I really clocked, you really are at least a standard deviation below the average. You're a bona fide bozo. SHAEEDA love, you've married a bozo. But then guys, I guess having said that, SHAEEDA, if you had your ducks in order, you would have known whether he wanted kids or not before you got married. And so I guess you're not the brightest spark either. And guys, I really do have the feeling that by the time SHAEEDA learns the rules of life, she's going to be far too old to play the game. So guys, let me know what you think in comments down below. What do you think of Crazy Eyes? Do you think she was just standing up for her girl and she was in the right? Or do you think she came on too strong? Was she downright rude? If I were her, I would have been passive-aggressive, but unfortunately she was aggressive-aggressive. And the truth be told, aggressive-aggressive pretty much works only for men and women who box for a living. I've seen it be tried many, many times. Aggressive-aggressive just isn't a strategy that works, or I haven't found it to work. And have you crossed over to enemy territory? Do you now believe that Bilal has been treated unfairly? I'd love to hear what you think, so please put it in comments down below. And I'm going to get on with my next video. Guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Smash the like button, help my analytics. Thank you guys so much for listening. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.